Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today for the press conference at the end of the ASEAN Leaders Retreat. In fact, it's the 32nd ASEAN Summit. We've had fruitful discussions with my fellow ASEAN leaders yesterday and today. We've adopted several deliverables which are in line with our priorities for this year for ASEAN, namely to strengthen its resilience and its innovative capacity. One is the ASEAN leaders' vision for a resilient and innovative ASEAN, which reaffirms the key principles for ASEAN cooperation and articulates our common vision. Second, the establishment of the ASEAN Smart Cities Network, which uses technology to improve the lives and livelihood of our people in all 10 countries, 26 cities. And thirdly, a leader statement on cybersecurity cooperation, to deepen regional cooperation and coordination to keep up with the rapid pace of digitalization. And I'm also pleased to announce several other initiatives to strengthen the ASEAN community. We finalized a model ASEAN extradition treaty last month at the working level, looking forward to completing it and commencing work on an actual ASEAN extradition treaty as the next step. There's a Singapore ASEAN Youth Fund, and Singapore will revitalize it with a $5 million top-up to support initiatives by ASEAN youths. And we will set up an annual training workshop in Singapore called the ASEAN Law Academy Program for officials, legal practitioners, and legal educators to promote ASEAN legal integration and legal education. We also had good discussions on regional issues and ASEAN's external engagements. We reiterated our commitment to ASEAN unity and centrality and to upholding an open, inclusive, rules-based regional architecture. We agreed to work intensively towards an early conclusion of the RCEP this year. On the Korean Peninsula, we agreed to continue to support efforts to secure the complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula in a peaceful manner. And on the recent developments, ASEAN welcomes the Inter-Korean Summit yesterday, the DPRK leader, Mr. Kim Jong-un's earlier visit to China, and the plans for President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un to meet in the near future. The Inter-Korean Summit supports steps to decrease tensions and improve inter-Korean relations, and it will contribute to peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and the region. On the South China Sea, we had a useful exchange of views. The situation is relatively calmer this past year. There has been progress made on implementing practical measures under the Declaration of Conduct, which have helped to build trust and prevent miscalculations on the ground. We've commenced negotiations on the Code of Conduct last month and look forward to the early conclusion of an effective Code of Conduct. We also received a briefing from Myanmar on Rakhine State. The situation is a complex and intercommunal issue. It dates back many decades, more than half a century, and is of concern to all ASEAN countries. We have mobilized the AHA Center, the ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance on Disaster Management, to deliver assistance to all the affected communities in Rakhine State, and we encourage Myanmar and Bangladesh to press on with their shared commitment to carry out the voluntary return of displaced persons in a safe, secure, and dignified way without undue delay. ASEAN stands ready to support efforts by all parties to work towards a long-term viable solution so that the affected communities can rebuild their lives. Overall, I'm pleased that we have completed a promising and productive first step in Singapore's ASEAN chairmanship. I greatly appreciate the support Singapore has received from our fellow ASEAN leaders and look forward to pressing on with the agenda and welcoming my fellow leaders back to Singapore again later this year.